Yeah, good morning, everyone. So, we had done a lot of discussion on strings. We were looking at actually two different problems on strings last time. So, that was just the beginning that we discussed how to actually separate out the tokens of the string. So, I told you what is common to the problem. So, the problems was you have given a string, you have to repeat. One of the problems was given a string, whatever are the repeated words, to remove them from the string, right? That means they should be printed only once. Okay. So to see again, whatever. Okay. So these are the repeated words. So it should be printed something like this. Reprogramming again. That was one problem, right? And the second problem, this was the first one. And the second problem is for the string, you have to actually replace a given word, okay, with another word, right? So that was the second problem. So from the string only, so say C, I want to replace with the word Java, right? So welcome to, so it should read like this. Your string should be intact, so it should read like this. Welcome to Java programming. So you are not deleting the repeated words, but you are replacing a particular word. Welcome to Java again, right? So these are the two problems we are looking at. And for solving these two problems, I told you there's a common step in these two problems is tokenizing the string. You have to separate out the words of the string. So for separating out the words of the string, we took the help of what? We took the help of a 2D array, right? We made use of a 2D array of strings, right? So array of, it was actually an 2D array of characters or array of strings. 2D array of characters is an array of strings. Okay. So we successfully, in the last lecture, we actually successfully tokenized the string into a 2D array of strings and we obtained it, right? We wrote that logic. I also send the logic to you so that you can go through it once, you can practice, you can just see for yourself how it is working. Okay. That was the first step in both of these programs. Now, let us start from the point that we have that array with us. Okay. So we in our array we have all the words which are split up. Okay. We are not caring about repeating words. We are just splitting up each word which is separated. We are looking at the space as a separator and we are just separating out the words, right? So welcome to C programming. Welcome to C again, right? Suppose this is your tokens. These are your tokens, okay? This is your array. In the array, you have these tokens. These tokens are individual strings. Since these tokens are individual strings, you make use of the string library function and do any kind of string manipulation, right? Each of these tokens are strings. You can perform any kind of string manipulation. So how do you do it? I have this with me in an array, right? The array was called, if you recollect, words. We called the array words, right? Now, what do you do to this? You simply, for the first problem statement is to remove the extra words, repeated words, right? So the logic is just go through this array, look at a word, okay, and see whether that word is coming down again anywhere. Looking at this word, you see whether it is coming down again. If it is coming again somewhere, you replace that word with an empty string. You replace the word with an empty string. Okay. So what will be the logic to go through this array? And find that word. If you want to compare two strings, which is the string library function? If I want to compare this word with this word, okay, what is this word? This word is words of 0, okay, and this word is words of 4. Okay, if I want to compare these two, these are the strings. These two, each of these are strings. Okay, if I want to compare these two words, the string library function is strcmp, right?
PMP.
So strcmp is going to compare the words. Okay, if you pass to it, and it will return three possible values: positive number, negative number, or 0. So if I want to check for equality, I need to
0.
see whether it is 0. Yes. So string compare words of 0, comma string words of 4 is equal to 0. So this is my condition. So if string compare this is equal to 0, then what do? I need to replace the second word, this word, okay, with what? An empty string.
Empty.
Now, yes. So now the
String
thing is,
copy.
yes, very good. So I cannot directly change this word to equal to I cannot write an equal to operator in the sense, because assignment is not possible. It's a string. It's not a character, right? It's not a single character. It's a string. So I cannot say words of 4 equal to this, right? This is not allowed. Not a valid operation. So I need to make use of another library function, that is string copy, string cpy, strcpy. Okay, and that is, what is the order? strcpy
String comma words of 0.
into words of 4, destination. This is the destination. You need to copy empty
Source.
string. Empty string. Source is the empty string. This will be replaced by empty string. Okay, if string compare, if there is a match, if there's a word which is found some down in the array which matches this word, then replace that word with an empty string. Okay, and how will you do it? So it's simply a loop. It's a single loop. It's a for loop. In that loop, again we'll run one more loop, right? One loop, the for loop, outer for loop is going to iterate through the all the words. So let me write it. So for I is equal to, now instead of 0 and 4, we will do it for all words, right? We'll generalize it for all words. So for each word in the words array, it was R, if you remember my index, and it R was the last word, this index. R was this index. Okay. What do I need to do? I need to run one more loop, which will, for this word, for a given word, I need to check for this array, right? Whether that welcome is repeated here. Okay. For then, suppose I'm done with welcome. Then for 2, I need to check for the remaining words, right? Because always the word will come below it only. Are you getting it? Because first word has to remain intact. The words which are repeated after it below somewhere in the array have to be removed. They have to be removed. So basically, you're going to replace that with an empty string. Okay. So for j is equal to
Yes,
I
ma'am.
plus 1. Very good. J is less than j plus plus if that condition, this condition, string compare, this condition will come in. words of I with J or J with I, does not matter. Okay, if it is equal to 0, then that means there's a match. strcpy words of J, right? Words of J now. This J has to be replaced with an empty string, right? Correct? Once you do this, you're all set, right? Your problem is solved. What do you need to do now? Whenever there's a repetition, it is replaced with an empty string. Now, what do you need to do? Simply go
Print.
through all, yes, go through all words and print the string with a space, right, in between. So that solves your problem. So now you have achieved the first problem. You have solved the first problem, that is delete the repeated words in a string. Have you understood the logic?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What about the second part of it? Same strategy you can apply. Slightly different, but same strategy. You have this array with you. Now we are looking from this point. We have done some pre-processing for the string. Na? We have pre-processed the original string. Yes, compare and then replace. Simply do a string compare and replace that word with a string with the given string. So instead of C, you will replace it with Java. For replacing, you will use a string copy as you used here, right? Here the string copy was with an empty string. There the string copy will be with a word, with a new word, whatever it is, whatever the user has entered. Correct? Any
Yes.
doubts here? Please ask.
And
No
two
doubt?
arrays, they are independent of each other, right?
Yes, the arrays are independent of each other.
Okay.
This is a string array. This is an array of strings. Okay. And the other one is the original string, no, STR. So I'll just switch back to the program so that you understand. In that context, I've just written it down as in the program. I'll just present that. Just give me a minute. So we had stopped here, right? What I did is this part of the logic we saw yesterday. I just put that logic into a function. Okay. So for my function, I am calling it delete repeated words. This is for the first program. Okay. This is the part of the logic that we tokenized into words, the string into words. We have the words here. This is the words array. This is the completion of the words array. After that, the same logic that I discussed some time back right now is here. Okay, so we are doing a string compare and we are copying this string, empty string into words of J. And here below what I've done is in case I want to replace the original string, okay, this is we are just printing out whatever logic I discussed. I said we can print it out with space, that is fine. But if you want to replace the original string, then in that case you just need to do a little bit more of work. That work is simply using strcpy. and str cat. Okay, so how do you do that? Simply just a temporary string, what you're doing is into a temporary string, just initializing the temporary string to an empty string, because if you don't initialize, what is the problem? Garbage values, right? So if you do a string concat with a temporary array, it might have some garbage value and that will also be printed out. Okay, so you initialize always whenever using string cat any function where you are going to concatenate, then in that case it is going to concatenate to the original string. So the original string has to be some string. Okay, that is why you initialize it to an empty string. So you are initializing to empty string. Okay, next you simply do a string cat with the words. If you do a string cat with the words, won't you get back the original string? What happened to this? Right, if you do a string concatenate, what is string cat? String concatenate, right? So if you do it to the words one by one, if you're just concatenating the words, you will get back the entire string into one string, right? All the words into one string. That is what we're doing. So into temp, you are concatenating each word, concatenating each word in that array, the new array that you have done, the processed array that you have. Okay, and then after each word you are putting a space. So again I'm using a string cat. Okay, and then finally the temporary string which I have obtained has to be copied back to the original string. So the original string that I have passed to the array was str. So that string now becomes, that temp string is copied to str. Okay, once you do this, since arrays are passed by pointers, the address, so when I'm calling this function inside main, what am I doing? I am passing the string name here. String name means address of str of 0. Okay, that is what I'm passing. I'm passing the base address of the string to this function. That means here if I'm making any changes, so I'm doing a string copy, right? I'm making changes to this original string. In the earlier logic, whatever I've written so far till this point, I have not, till this point, till line number 38, I have not made any changes to str. Okay, whatever work I've done, I've just saved it into words, then I've made an array, temporary array temp. Okay, I have not saved into str. But the moment I say strcpy str comma temp, what happens is that original string is replaced inside this function, but not only in this function, is this str is referring to that function, that string which is declared in main, because strings, this str's base address is passed, and that is why whatever changes are made in delete repeat words, that those changes are reflected inside main. Okay, so I do not need to return anything. I'm not returning, if you notice, it's void, the return type of the function. So you simply, if you print this, I'll just run it for you quickly. If you print the string, then you will get the new string. Okay, so GCC okay, welcome to C programming again. Now you will notice that little bit of space is extra. Why do you think this is extra space is there?
because space has been copied.
Because at welcome to C, these three strings are empty strings. Okay, so if, since they are empty strings in words, after each empty string I am appending a space, right? After each word I am appending a space. So how to remove that extra space now? you can just modify this logic here, right? So what you will do, if words of I, okay,
I
string
will
compare.
directly concatenate the space with the word before it.
No, still it will happen the same thing, no? If you have this, see, because each string, whatever I'm having in the words array, that is an empty string, no? So after each word, I am concatenating with an empty string. So what is your solution? You're saying? I didn't get it. After each,
Uh, Ma'am, if the words are equal, then we will concatenate a space character with the last word which was there, so it will show only one space.
if the words are equal, then, for example, in this string
We'll
only,
attach
tell
it.
me. In this string,
And after programming, we will merge a space with it, only one space character. Ma'am, I think it may be wrong.
yeah, because each word, all this welcome to see अभी empty strings बन गए ना अपनी अपनी original array में, in our words array, in the words array, all these words are gone, but they are strings, empty strings. So that solution will not work, whatever you're saying. Okay, so
Okay.
words of I, if it is if it is equal to, I cannot do, I need to do a string compare. If it is not equal to 0, if it is not equal to 0, then only I do a space concatena. Okay, whatever it is. Fine. What did I do? I just checked whether it was an empty word. If it is an empty word, then I do not concatenate this space. Otherwise, I concatenate. So that will solve my problem. Okay. That's it. So this is about the first thing. Only thing now for the second program, you have to replace it. Do you want me to do it, or you will do it on your own? Everyone, I hope you have understood this logic, everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And the second logic is also straightforward. Only thing is you have to read the word. So it's very simple. You simply have to say. So here only you say replace string. So maybe that's a word, right? So 30 characters, whatever it is. Okay. So max 30 characters. So you will simply say word, sorry, enter a word, scanf, %d, %s, here. And what you will do, those changes you will have to write. So there are two programs. First is, there are two questions. So you can do it separately. The same logic you have to copy paste, and there this part of the logic has to change. Huh? This part of the logic where you're comparing, this part has to change to the new word. So the argument that you will pass to this function, if you're writing it in the function, so it's not compulsory that you use a function, user defined function. You can write it entire thing in main. It is up to you. But if you're using a function, Then there will be one more argument that you will pass to the function, and that is the word. That is the replacement word that you need to change, right? So that is the only thing. And here, simply wherever that word, what you will do, that word wherever it comes, see, that you're going to replace with Java. So what will be the change? I'll just copy this, I'll write it for you and comment it. Okay, and then you can, I'll send this program to you. You can just check both parts. I will just write it for you and then comment this. This is for program 2. Let me write program 2. Okay. Here what you will do is simply what is the logic? There will be the word to search for. Let me call it the keyword. Okay, key, and the replacement word also. Both you have to pass, right? The replacement word also you need to pass. So the search key and the replacement word. The search is simply search logic you use here. Linear search. String compare words of I with, what will you compare it with? With the key. Key of I. If it is equal to 0, then words of I will be replaced with key, with key only. Key is a string and words of I is one string, right? Words is a 2D array, key is a string, that means 1D array. So if words of I comma key, if it is equal to 0, that means you have found that search string like C, then in that case, that has to be replaced with the word that you have provided, right? So 3 parameters will be there. So this is basically, I'm going to comment it. Okay, this is the program 2 part. Fine, you all can explore this. Any doubt? Okay. How do you sort strings? Do you recollect sorting strings? Next problem. Sorting of strings. Sort a list of strings.
So it's like integer array only, except that when we use we'll use strcpy greater than 0 less than 0 instead of one integer being greater than or less than the other.
Yes. So you use selection sort on strings, right? So selection sort on strings is basically your 2D arrays now. You're going to work with 2D arrays because you are given with a list of strings. List of strings means it is a 2D array of characters, right? So basically you just have to read the strings into the 2D array. How will you read? Simply a loop, read it, right? First step is read the strings. Instead of reading number array, you're reading string array, right? So that change you need to make. Then
strlen.
strlen, what? strlen.
Yeah, to know the length of the string, and then you can use 2 for loops to compare
Okay.
inside.
No, length of the string. Length of the string is not required, na? See, length of the string, for what you're doing, you're not doing a character by character comparison. You are doing directly, you are making use of string compare directly. Only thing is, you will just say, अरे user को बोलोगे आप, for example, names are there, names of this class, right? Any class, electronics or whatever, or IT. So in that case, you will just say enter the names, now. For entering the names, user will enter. How many names you will specify? N. The loop will run n times. So the number of words in this 2D array or the number of strings in the 2D array will be n. Okay, so you know the length of the 2D array. Fine. Then for this set of strings, so whatever, okay, this is the name of words. What you have to do is simply you have to apply selection sort here. Instead of numbers, now the data that we are looking at, that is strings. Those are strings. So what do you do for that? Selection sort, everyone knows, right? You have done one practical on that
Yes, ma'am.
already. Simply two for loops and then string compare. So for, I'm not writing the condition, I0 to whatever, I and j. Here this is the logic for finding smallest, right? Selection sort. Find the smallest and swap with the first location. Find next smallest, swap with the second location. That is what you do, selection sort. Okay. So if the if condition that you're going to do will be a string compare, because it's not a number, it's a string that you're comparing. That's it. That's the only difference. If string compare, this string, if it is less than, now the less than will come into picture. Less than, greater than, I told you na, positive, negative, or equal to. You're not checking for an equality, you're checking for less than. Why less than? Because you have to find the smallest string alphabetically, whichever alphabetically is going to come first. So you're going to use string compare. So how do you do it? Quickly switching on to the code, the same code, the same idea I have just coded. Okay, so this is basically your selection sort. This is the function selection sort, select sort strings. Selection sort applied on strings. Okay, you are passing the strings. Now this strings is a 2D array. So 2D, for passing 2D arrays, the second dimension has to be mentioned, whatever it is. This is 30. So this has to be mentioned here. Okay, and int n is the number of words, the number of strings. Two loops of the selection sort, I and j. You are finding the index of the minimum string, right? Which is going to come, which is the smallest string. So if string compare, words of j is going to, each word's index is going to give me a string. Words of 0 will give me the first string, words of 1 will give me the second string, and so on. You compare that with min index. If min index, if this, how will it read? If this word comes alphabetically before this, right? Then it will return a negative number, right? If this is alphabetically smaller than this, then it will return a negative number. String compare will return a negative number. So if words of j is less than words of min I, then min I will be j. Okay, and once you do this, you need to swap. The swapping logic you have to write. Now for swapping, again, you cannot use the equal to operator. Assignment operator cannot be used, right? So what operator you will use? You will use string copy. Fine. So string copy you use, and temp is a string which we have taken, temporary string here. So using temp, you will exchange these two words. Okay, the words at I ith word with the min index word. That is what you do. That is selection sort. And once you do that, your words array is sorted. You do not need to return it because it is passed by pointers. The address is passed. Okay. So you simply call the string and then you can see how it is working. So quickly running that program as well. Suppose I say 5 into the list. So after sorting, you can see it is sorted. Okay. You can check, of course, you can try to break the algorithm. Whether, I mean, if I have used all words with different letters, you can try with same letters and see. Okay. So this is about selection sort. Everyone, I hope you recollect selection sort. The same thing, only change that will be that is string compare. Clear? Is this clear? String compare and strcpy for assignment, because assignment cannot be done of strings. Is this clear?
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
here we can use bubble sort also now instead of
Any
selection
sorting
sort.
logic, any sorting logic that you want. If it is bubble sort, then the logic will change, na? Everyone
Yes,
knows
ma'am.
bubble sort. Bubble sort has been discussed.
No,
Or
ma'am.
No,
so let
No,
me
no.
bubble sort. If you know, you can apply bubble sort. It is up to you.
maybe in bubble sort we compare the adjacent
You want me to discuss
elements.
bubble sort? I can discuss.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you show the main function once?
Main function for this? Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
I will send it to you. I'll send the file to you. Don't worry. But don't just keep collecting the files. Use them. Run the programs. Try to understand them. Okay, and try to code on your own. Then only your program will improve. Your programming skills will improve only if you practice some problems. You try to write the logic on your own. Okay, I will discuss the logic for bubble sort. Okay, the logic first. It's not discussed earlier, na? In arrays.
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll discuss. So what is bubble sort? So I will start with numbers array, and the same logic you have to apply to strings. Okay, fine. Because numbers array, it becomes easy for us to look at. Otherwise, I have to keep on comparing the strings and all. And both things are same. Only thing is string compare use करना पड़ेगा, string copy use करना पड़ेगा. So this is your array, somewhat unsorted array. 44. 75. Okay. Now, what does bubble sort say? Bubble sort says that I perform consequent swaps. Okay. Bubble sort works on the principle of swapping consequent elements or adjacent elements. Okay. So for adjacent elements, but when do you swap? The condition is when they're out of order. When the adjacent elements are out of order, you swap them. Okay. So So you look at a pair of elements. So pairwise you look at elements, and if they are out of order, you swap them. So if you look at 42 and 32 are 44 and 32, are they in order or out of order? That depends on what order you are deciding, whether ascending or descending. So suppose you are looking at the usual ascending order. Okay, so in that case 44 and 32 are out of order, right? So what do? I simply swap them, right? Again, I check now 44 with 75. So first I check with only first two elements, then second element with third element I check. Are they in order or out of order?
In order.
They are in order, so I don't touch. So I don't swap. Fine. Then I check for these two elements. Are they in order or out of order?
Out of order.
So I swap them. Okay. Again, these two elements. In order or out of order?
In order.
In order.
In. Fine. Then I check these two elements. In order or out of order? Out
Out.
order.
So what we do, we swap them. Okay. Now
And the
after
minimum.
performing these, after performing these swaps, what has happened is
The
you notice
largest
that the
element.
largest element is at its correct position. So largest element is sorted. Okay. So now you have logically divided the array into two halves. This is unsorted. This much remains unsorted, and one element is sorted. Okay. Now the same logic you apply to the unsorted array. Again, you do the same thing. So you compare first with this in order, then with this out of order. So you swap. Okay. Then again, this is in order, this is out of order. You swap. So what are you getting? 32, 27, 44, 22, 75, and 83. So after this pass, what will happen is last two elements are sorted and this is unsorted. Are you getting the logic? Understanding what is bubble sort? So this is bubble sort. You keep on doing this. You will keep on continuing this, right? Until all elements are sorted. Okay. Logic
Yes,
is clear. Okay. Now इसको program में करना है. तो अभी क्या है? What are the things that you are doing? One is you are performing swaps. In all these sorting algorithm, you have to swap only. Otherwise, the order will not change. Okay, that is a basic operation which is performed. But what you're doing is you're going through all the elements in the first pass. Okay, then what you're noticing is your array size is decreasing, because you know with each pass through the array, with each iteration, you can say the one element gets sorted. Now one extra element gets sorted. So after the end of the first iteration, last element is sorted. Then after the end of the second iteration, last two elements are sorted, and so on. Okay, so this you have to keep in mind, and you have to write the logic. You have to write the loop. So that loop will be, again, two loops will be there. One loop will be for the iterations. How many iterations you will require so that all elements are sorted now?
N minus 1.
N minus 1, because after you sort these elements, these many elements, of course they are not in the sorted order, but when after they are sorted, the first element automatically will get sorted, right? Because वो smallest ही रहेगा ना. So N minus 1 iterations you require. Okay? And each iteration you're doing this comparison of order or in order or out of order. This comparison in each iteration for all the elements in the unsorted array. In that logical subdivision of sorted and unsorted. Initially the entire array is unsorted, then it keeps on reducing, size reduces by 1. That is what you're doing. Okay. Now how to write the logic? Very simple. First is the passes logic. I is less than. These are the iterations or passes. right? Inside this, there has to be a loop only, na, because I have to iterate through this. क्या कर रहे हैं हम? These two I am checking, then these two, see, index, right? I am checking these two, then I am switching to these two. So of course this is a loop only. It tells me that it is a loop. This loop, first loop will run how many times? I'm checking these two, then these two, then these two, and so on. How many times?
6.
For this array? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many comparisons? 5. Right? 5 times I need to compare, na? The pair of elements.
Yes,
See,
ma'am.
for then now my once my one array one element is sorted, how many comparisons do I need to make? 4,
4.
then 3, then 2. Are you getting it? That is a thing. It's decreasing. So this J loop, J is equal to 0. J is less than
n minus I minus 1. Less
n
than.
minus I minus 1 J plus plus. If it is out of order, that means which two elements? If A is my array, okay. If A of J just writing small. Right, consecutive A of J plus 1. If it happens to be less than A of J, then I swap, right? J is 0. So A of 1, अगर A of 1 छोटा है A of 0 से, then I will swap, ना?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So for the first run, for I value 0, this loop will run how many times? You can just check. Look at the condition. J is less than n minus I is 0, n minus 1. This loop will run n minus 1 times, which is correct. No? For 6, it will run 6 elements. These were 6 elements. It will run 6 elements. Hai na ye? It will run
Ma'am,
5
for
times.
D, why did
Why
you write n
comparison?
minus I minus 1?
That is what I am coming to that only. For 6 elements, I will do the comparisons 5 times, right? For I equal to 1, what will be that value? N minus I minus 1?
N minus 1.
No. N minus 2. It will be n minus 2, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ha. Now you are getting it. Why?
But ma'am, if we write the same limit as we are writing for I, then also the code will work.
Then also it will work. Very good. Then also it will work. Only thing is swapping will not take place because that condition is not true. But you are reduced. This is I can say a sort of an optimized code because you're not doing unnecessary comparisons. You're avoiding that. Now, once it is done, why you need to compare? Yeah.
Yes.
So you can go up till n minus 1. You can go up till n minus 1. n minus 1 तक ही जाना है, n तक नहीं जाना है. Why? नहीं तो उसके बाहर भी check
Starting
करेगा
from
ना.
0. Yeah.
It will
Garbage
check
value हो सकता है ना
outside.
कोई.
It will check outside. So it has to be this only. This is correct. Remember, it will not be n. And remember, this is less than n minus 1. That means j will be equal to 0 to n minus 2. N minus 2 will be the second last element. If you look at the index, right? N minus 1 is the last index of the array. 5 is the last index of the array with element 6 elements, right? So that is why you cannot compare this last element with something which is there beyond the array size. Fine. So this is the
optimize it even more, right?
What?
This we can optimize more, right?
We can optimize more. Yes. How will you do it?
By we can use a flag variable, and if
Yeah,
in one
correct.
particular loop
If
it
there
is
are no
not
more
swapping,
no swaps in the last iteration, you can swap. You can stop. You can stop it, right? So, like for
Yes.
example, if the array was already almost sorted, or only one element was out of order, then you don't need to keep on doing this, na, till the end. You can optimize it further. Good, you can do that. Okay. So this is about bubble sort. Only thing is, अगर इसको string में करना है तो यहाँ पे string compare आएगा. This will be replaced with string compare. Swapping logic will be using strcpy. Fine. That's the only difference. So that's about strings. So I'm going to send all these programs to you. Please practice. Okay, we'll stop for now.
Ma'am, which sorting algorithm is more efficient?
Okay. So both of these, I cannot say there are better algorithms than these. These are very basic algorithms. They're almost same. And some of these, see, there are different cases. So some of these perform when the array, when the array is unsorted or sorted in the reverse order. Some of these perform well when it is sorted in the ascending order, which is of no use, because if it is already sorted in the order that we require, then why do we use it? I mean, so there are some other algorithms like merge sort, quick sort, which sort the arrays faster. Okay, the logic is a little more complex than these sorting algorithms. So when you study, if you're an IT student, then you'll be studying about the complexity of algorithms, how to compute, find out the efficiency of algorithms, which runs faster, which is better. Once you study those notations, you will be understanding. So at this stage, right now, we are not going to discuss about complexity as such.
O log of n ऐसा कुछ होता है ना?
Yes, yes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.